We're here in the studios today with Mary Breimer with Ginger Green Financial, co-hosting with us today, and of course David Koohy with Coastal Financial Group and Island Tax Services. Now, David, we wanted to talk about is it an expensive hobby or an actual business today, right?
That's correct. Very good question. A lot of people out there, when they get started and they go to look at they want to do something, and they come across they come to me and say, Dave, I've got this job I'm doing on the side. Now, that could be almost anything from like photography, horse breeding, landscaping, if you want to call it that, woodworking, even out of your garage. And if you don't do it properly, the IRS looks at them as a hobby and not as a business. One of the key things that deviates the two is, are you attempting to make money at your doing, even though you have all these losses, or is it just something to take up your spare time? These are key things that you need to know about when you set this up. When you bring it into play, are you really trying to make money at it? Or is it just something that you're doing it because it's fun and you want to get a job done? And this happens a lot with retirees or people getting close to retirement age. They have a really good job and they're up there in the income, and so now they want to do something to help offset that income. Then they come in and see me and they're like, Dave, I did this, this, and this. I spent $20,000 on lumber and I made $1,000 in my business. So I'm going to write off $19,000. Yeah, that's not good.
Like the IRS doesn't know that your kids dropped off of your tax return and you just stopped reporting mortgage interest, so that's why you're desperate looking for a deduction.
Yeah, that is correct.
The tax return just tells a story. The 1040 is a story about your year. That's all it is.
And numbers don't lie.
They do not lie.
Sometimes they do, actually.
And the bigger thing that I've been learning in some professional ed stuff that I've been doing lately is that the IRS has this thing called interpretation.
What's that?
Their interpretation, the agent auditor that you have to sit, that has been assigned to you,
your case,
may interpret what you have done, what your intention is, even after you are dead. If it was an intention to avoid paying the proper tax due, they will go back into your state or go back and take money back from your heirs. And when you have business losses consecutively year over year over year, and it looks like the purpose is simply to offset other income, they think that's your intention.
And that's where
shouldn't we be in business to make money?
And that's actually where I come into play, because again, like Mary was saying, she's absolutely right. The auditor that you're having, it's his interpretation. When you bring in somebody like myself, who, as an enrolled agent, my job now is to fight for you. I'm an advocator for you, to point out your point of view, to disbelief, his belief of what you have going on. A couple other things, too, you also want to have. If you have your own little business, it needs to have its own set of books. You do not commingle. And that's meaning mix your personal and business books together. You should have, Harry's birdhouses, as a separate checking account. Or Mary's, I don't know.
Horse breeding.
Horse breeding, yes. Because Mary likes
not
horses.
The cleaning lady.
Yeah, not carpet cleaning, but horse cleaning. Right. These are different things that you look at. Now, Mary also mentioned, just very quickly, you can have losses, ladies and gentlemen. You really can. And again, hypothetically, first year in business, you might have a $5,000 loss, but you made $3,000, you spent $5,000. Second year, you made $8,000, but spent $10,000. Third year, you might have made $15,000, but spent $20,000. But eventually, and again, and that's okay because
that story tells a story of progress.
That's correct. You're growing. Your business is growing. Eventually, it's going to cap out, though, ladies and gentlemen. Really, because eventually you're going to have everything that you need. And so 1 or 2 years down the road, you're going to show a profit. But then you can, boom, go back into, quote unquote, into the red. IRS looks at, approximately 5 years. They give you roughly 5 years of being in the red before they really want to see you showing some type of growth, some type of income on a positive side. And this is what we do.
One of the things that I would say about business losses is that if you want to do any type of financing for your home, things like that, you need to be talking with your tax guy. One of the biggest complaints we all have is if you would come to us with the scenario before you sign the documents, we could help you do so much more. And if you're looking at doing some refinancing or purchasing, showing losses is not your friend when you're self-employed going into a bank. And David knows how to set up your tax return. Paying taxes is a good thing if you're trying to substantiate why you're a good credit risk to a lender. Don't paint yourself into a corner because the banks want 2 years of tax returns, 2 years of income, and if you're showing a lot of losses, it's going to come back and bite you. And typically when people need to go get money, it's because they really want something or they're really in a crisis.
Right. Mary's exactly right. In a lot of cases, you might have a positive cash flow income on one side, but your business is showing a loss. The bank takes that seriously as a negative, and you're like, but I've got enough money to pay for this. But again, like Mary said, 2 years. Banks want 2 years of positive growth on that income, on that self-employed side, before they'll say you're a good risk. But Dave, I made $100,000, right? But on your business side, you showed $25,000 loss on your business. My job is to get you to pay the least amount of legal taxes out there. However, my job is also to help you get what you need in life, which means, you know, you might have to pay taxes a couple years. And again, as Mary said, paying taxes is not a bad thing. That means you made a profit on your business. It's not always good to be in the red, and banks don't like that at all.
No.
But if you're positive in your business, and again, you pay taxes, what's wrong with that? All the government's saying, you made this much, you need to give us back this much to help run the government. Bottom line, you're in America.
They need all the
right
help
there.
they can get.
Yeah, I agree. And they take the average of your 2 years, by the way. So if you made 20 grand one year and 100 grand the next year, they're going to take the average of that.
Right.
Okay. And it's just, so be careful. So if you want that $300,000 home or $400,000 home or whatever, make sure you're claiming enough to be able to support that.
And just so our listeners know, you can get your tax man on the phone with your lender or your bank, and they will talk before your tax return is filed, so that they're all on the same page, so that you don't have any disappointments.
Throw the financial planner in there too. Have a four-way conversation. Right. You can do that.
There's debt is your friend in a portfolio if you have the right kind of debt. And
That's
people
correct.
don't understand. I have everybody saying, I want to pay my house off. I want to pay my house off. You will never have cheaper dollars than you have today. Debt is your friend when it's good debt.
Right. And that's true. There's good and bad debt. As Mary was saying, some of the good debt out there, believe it or not, is a home mortgage. That's not,
Home equity line.
Home equity line of credit. Those are good. You can deduct those. Bad debt, credit card, cars, etc. Why? Because you can't deduct the interest.
Student loans.
Yeah. I mean, some of these out there, think about it, and this is what we do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we do. We help you go through that complicated steps. Everybody thinks TurboTax is simple and easy. You can figure it out. Not necessarily true. Somebody like Mary, somebody like myself, get together with us, talk to us before you make those decisions, before you make those choices. Most of you go get a second opinion before you get an operation or dental or referral on anything. Do the same thing when it comes to your taxes, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your investment, when it comes to your insurances.